Ano ai ke aloha mai ku'uoni hanau o wau o Faye Hanohano o wau ka luna maka'ainana mai ka hale maka'ainana o wau ka luna maka'ainana mai ka apana iha mai ka mokupuni o ke ave o ia no o puna ka hale o pele. Aloha awake a kako. Yeah, I just said greetings from the land of Puna, my birthplace, my birth stance, and I also come from, the place of Tutupele, because she's still Luai over there, she's still flowing. And we have the only geothermal in the state of Hawaii as of today, but tomorrow might be someplace else, so depending on where they find her because you need all the steam to create the geothermal. And so far, actually, the geothermal really hasn't really changed our climate in our area. When it first started, it just really was more an emotional type of movement, because people were uncertain of what it really was going to produce and how we were going to be sustainable using our indigenous resources. And especially when they started the Waukele Opuna movement, and there was a lot of our Native Hawaiians that came out, and actually out of that whole event, the best thing that came out from that was our cash laws. So all Native Hawaiians, can have their gathering rights. So that is very significant to remember. And of course it's in my area, so I'm proud, to be from Puna, because actually when I was growing up, everybody used to make fun of people from Puna, because they used to say we were like country jacks, because we were really rural, and technically we really used the resources we had. So, coming to the legislature, when somebody told me, oh, the poi from the wetland, the lo'i, is better than the poi from dryland. So I looked at this person, and this person is from Molokai, and I said, why, what's wrong with the dryland poi? And he said, oh, no, I want more. Oh, no. So I said, oh, you're looking at somebody that's been brought up on dry land taro poi. So what's wrong with me? And the person couldn't answer. And I said, it doesn't make a difference. It's the same plant. It's just that we're cultivating it differently. And so, when people go out to educate people, that's why they get all huika, all mixed up. And then they all get hiya in this complexity. Because technically, if we look at the differences between, being a true Hawaiian, or on our Hawaiian side, which I call the aipohaku concept, of where, you're sustainable. And our ancestors already gave us all this ike of who we need to be. Because technically, when I was growing up, actually, I had a lot of kupunas, a lot of aunties, uncles, and all this ohana support which people talk about, but yet they really don't know how to implement it in today's world to make it a better world, so our future generations can still know who they are, because that is the most important thing we need to know. Because if you know who you are and you're a happy person, then you're ready to do whatever you need to do in this world. Because we all have purposes here, and we're only here temporary. So the differences that we can make today, we have to just holo more, because technically, most of us in this room, our time is really over, because we're planning for the future generations and making sure resources that we have today. Alternative energy is a really big topic in the legislature, but it's good that we have some legislation that recognizes indigenous resources. And we also need to recognize that the Native Hawaiians really need to have their voice. So the consultation process is very important to remember. Because a lot of times when decisions are made, who's left out? All the Native Hawaiians or the people that come from the Aina, and they have no say. Even if they go to the public hearing, you know, all the information they take, do they listen? You know, they all maybe are kuli. We all know it's falling on deaf ears. So, you know, we really have to maka'ala. We need to wake up ourselves, you know. And really, if you really know who you are, where you're going, we can make those decisions today. And we need to bring forth really a lot of our ancestral wisdoms. So one of our most important bill we're trying to push out today is our Ahamoku bill, which is alive in both the House and the Senate. And this is really a 19th century concept from the island of Molokai. So, you know, Molokai, they have a lot of treasures there, but, you know, like I said, every island has treasures. But it's kind of sad that a lot of our, like, Director Island said that, you know, he looks to kupunas to assist him, to kako'o him with a lot of the decisions. But a lot of our kupunas really are leaving us. So it's now for the people in this room, like I said, to maka'ala and whatever iki you have, at least to contribute. Of course, I know there's a sensitivity part of some things are only for the ohana. I mean, cannot help because that's how Hawaiians are. You know, they're so clever, you know, in Kolohe. So that's how they keep all the, you know, the iki within the family. So every time, you know, like when I was growing up, my mom would say, oh, my ha'avika ike. So I was always trying to figure out what you're trying to tell me. And she goes, yeah, don't give away all your knowledge because one day, you know, it's going to be useful for a better purpose instead of just using it now and it's not the right timing. Because a lot of things is timing. It's almost like bills in the legislature. It's the timing and the climate of the legislature that makes it happen, or they just kapai, just throw them on the side. But later on, those bills, ho'alaho, it resurrects itself, but you never know where unless you know the processes. So that is why when director said about relationships, you know, the pili, everybody has to be in that realm of being really holistic and being related, whether it's the aina, whether it's napo'e, you know, the land, the people, I mean, everything around you, you have to be grounded. So we all have to be onipa, because that's the only way our lahui is going to move forward. And of course, we need good alaka'is, and luckily we have Poe Hawaii, you know, DLNR, you know, the Keena Bye. So, you know, that is, you know, truly, and I see a lot of new leaders, whether it's in, you know, education, whether it's in the science, but a lot of these things really, if you really look at the history of Hawaii and who you are, it's really all in our DNA. The possibilities that we can do, which we need to believe in ourselves, that's why you really have to, you know, like if you have a, you know, broken spirit, you gotta malama na uhani. And all of us came on earth with the makana. It's how we take care of makana and how we grow it for the best purpose for all, not only for ourselves, because Hawaiians was kako, and I hear plenty people use the word kako, and then when you look at their hana, you look at their work, awe, aohe kako. I mean, you know, this whole punikunin poe, we don't need them. You know, we gotta hold my hale first. I mean, we gotta clean up first, you know, clean our house first, and then we can hold more. Yeah, so the Ahamoku bill is one of our most important bills that we need, and it will be actually part of the LNR, and it's just to assist in policies. And this is a first step for Native Hawaiians because now we have a voice there. And it also uses generational knowledge and people that are lineage of the area. I mean, like I'm from Puna. You think I like somebody tell me what we're going to do in Kalapana, although it's all lava right now? I don't think so. Because they really don't understand a lot of the relationships, the pili, and the history, and the mo'olelos. And these are important things you need to remember because we all need to be proud of who we are. I mean, we don't need more people in incarceration. So that's why I'm also working on another bill to have Kulani as a pu'uhonua. And we all understand pu'uhonua is not a program, it's a place. And that place was really picked out in 1940s when they did the honor camp. So it already has the essence of a wellness place. So Hawaiians, you know, when they picked out stuff, they were very precise in what they were looking for. They weren't just picking out any old stuff. They already had the ike and they had the vision to see where they needed to go. And that is the same thing, even with these climatic changes and stuff. We don't need to be maka'u of that. We've been living on these islands for many years and we're still here. Although the Po'ehali wants us to disappear, but that's okay. Because we can ho'oponopono on that if we put all our efforts together, support things that are really for the greater good of everybody. And we can just holomua, and we can do so much things. But like I said, we only have temporary. So what you can make the difference, you know, is really, you know, mahalo. So in closing, I want to just say, you know, mahalo for inviting me here. I hope I wasn't off the subject, but you know, Hawaiian affairs really touches everything that happens in the state of Hawaii. And people don't realize that they're kind of like papayas, you know. And all the people that was a chairperson of Hawaiian affairs was really never into the subject, but only because of my upbringing. So I mean, my passion is there, and so I've been moving, you know, bills that need to be moved, and even like our OHA settlement, you know, maybe it's not the best bill, but like I said, hey, if it's partial, it's not global, and it is partial because you're only covering from 1978 to June 30, 2012. So, you know, it's just a past settlement. Yeah, it's all the loose change that state owe us. So, when you get the bigger one, you know, then we still have time to get the needs and also really make our lahui a healthy lahui. And we can still live in both worlds, whether it's the Western, which are called the Aikala, because that's where you have all the Anunu, all the greed, and you have all the lili over there, jealousy. But on that realm, when you look at the Aikala, it's so complex. You don't even want to enter that world because there is no fixings. The fixings are always punitive. And that's why our people end up in being incarcerated and in jails. And of course, all you know that we have the highest. So, mahalo nui and nakapumaikai ya me kumaluhia ia ka kako. May the peace and blessings be with all of us. Aloha.